Okay, are we up now? All right, sorry for that, folks. Again, we had some very, very bad technical difficulties on my part here. Again, I could not get the stream up and running like I was wanting to right away. I do very much apologize. I swear you did not miss anything off the start. Everyone has lined up in their grid and they have ordered. I was just going through the list of drivers. But just to make things a little easier on here, I'll give you the list of drivers right now here. Piloting number 18 will be Justin Wine. The 3 is Tyler Barnes. The 34 will be Mike Stremensky. The 4 will be driven by Andrew Smith. The number 96 can be driven by Matthew Barker Ace. Number 2 is Tim Richardson. The 88 will be Jeremy W. Keltner. The number 16 will be Liam Bebby. The BB. The number 98 is being driven by Eric Hoppathorn. The number 15 is Gary Miller. 78 is Tyler Manning. The 7 is Dalton Steele. The 13 is Chris Ramsey. The 67 is Ben Ryan. 27 is Ryan Hunter. The 69 is Brian Bryguy Lashbrook. The number 29 is driven by Jimmy Pylan Rowdy. The number 40 is Dakota Isrig. The number 12 is Dylan Grace. Number 5 is Shane Wilden Sr. The 30 is James Wagner. And then Ben Parsons is right now your race leader in number 33. I hope I got all that right, because, man, if I had some time to get through the stuff here. This is Roughneck Racing, ladies and gentlemen, here in the Wagner's Welding Cup Series. And again, you have not missed much, I swear. We have been just a little bit all over the place, just trying to get everything squared up on the track. But as you see, the drivers now jockeying for position, getting themselves all around the circuit. I'm hoping the stream and everything looks good on your end as well as mine, because there was a lot of work we put in to get to this one today, and we are glad to be able to make it out here. And we do apologize for not quite being up to stuff and up to our usual standards here on Speed Zone TV. I hope this will make up for it later in the race. Our fans joining us in on the live action today as well. Here, driven on the gas 11. Good luck, my guys. First ever start. Good luck as well at Mechanic 1984. Let's have a good fun race tonight. Major Chubbage official says today would be nice. Yep, we got it there. The mechanic says, where's the popcorn stand? At least point me to snack bar while we wait. Well, I'm pretty sure the popcorn stand is somewhere down there in turn number 2 somewhere. Probably hidden behind the barriers there, I do. So you might have a little bit of walking to do in this 2.6 mile long track. My best wishes and luck to you, my friends. Kelly Manning, 6342 says, you're good. Thank you, Kelly. It's nice to have some reassurance around here, especially considering me and the producers were hot on the trail trying to get this up here for our good friends here at Roughneck Racing. You're on the onboard right now here as we go live. Right on the spot here is Eric Helpethorn. He is currently holding the Toyota Camry machine in the 12th spot right now, dealing with traffic right up ahead of him. And again, you're going to see this through a lot today here as well. These drivers are going to be jockeying for position, jockeying for runs, looking for momentum and openings where they can. I think, honestly, the biggest thing you're going to need to really keep your eyes on and really see as you go around the track here is the amount of times that these drivers are going to be really looking on towards the run versus the fuel-saving strategy. We've seen it before many times where fuel-saving strategy is so crucial, so big here. But in reality, what really brings the best drivers to the front and the ones that keep them up there are those that are able to hold the line and hold that push in a very tight angle, tight spot. Because again, these cars, they're not got flat, straight bumpers or anything like that. These things have curved edges on the front of the nose. See if we can get a good little skew right here. You can see right there the nose of those Chevys there, the Camaros. And then you see the difference between those and some of the Fords and the Toyotas. And a big difference ensues because, again, now the Toyotas and the Fords, a little bit of a flatter end there, so they can push a little bit better. But the problem is that rear axle. The rear back end will be able to not be able to push as good and as well, so you can't tandem draft as well as you may hope for. So really, you're looking to try to push the car in front of you as quick as you can and kind of get yourself squared up in a very unique and individualistic pace. That certainly will be something that these drivers are constantly going to be hard on the charge and hard on the throttle for throughout this one here. Let's take a quick look at our racetrack info today here, presented by Ragner's Welding here for the Cup Series division. This is the DEGADASH 2266, 2.66 miles in length. Talladega, big hosting spot here for many fans and favorites and many drivers as well. This place, 91 degrees in temperature. Altitude right now looking all right too, but that temperature definitely going to be a wear and tear on the drivers. We'll see how well they hold up in the high humidity, high climate as we continue along with our drive. a little bit of trouble down there on the spot. We got a yellow flag out on the track. We got one of them spun around. It looks like there is problems there for Matthew Barker Ace in the 96. Not sure what happened exactly there, but to figure this out, something I haven't said in a long time, we got to go to the Speed Zone TV Instant Replay, presented in part by our friends at Wagner's Welding. Here is the Speed Zone TV Instant Replay. Let's take a look at this one. Ooh, came right down on the front straightaway there and on the tri-oval there, unfortunately. Nowhere to go, ends up in a tight spot. And again, that's something you're going to see a lot tonight as well. And today, drivers and fans, is this is going to be the common thread, the common issue, is drivers constantly in the throttle and then looking for openings. And then when they get out of that draft and into the dirty air, they're trying to find a way into something better. Unfortunately, once you lose that momentum in that draft, well, that can be the end result. A tough break there, unfortunately, for the 96 as well as the 16. Hopefully no damage was badly done to him. Hopefully they'll be able to come back out and return Liam Beebe, though. I guarantee, or Bebby, someone please correct me in the comment section if I am saying wrong. I do not want pitchforks and torches my way, please. I know I'm a little late to the party, as we can see from our Party City driver there, but nevertheless, please do not take me out on the track. I just came back from a long hiatus of broadcasting and announcing on the channel, so Liam seems to be okay. You can see a little bit of minor damage on that left front side. We'll see if he wants to take it in to get some pit road damage worked on it here, as they seem to all be coming down into pit road. We'll have to see how that fares here for our drivers here as they get themselves right out of the track and onto the surface. Pit stops are engaged. We'll see who makes it out first. Looks like everyone going into pit road. Out first, it's going to be Ben Parsons, Ben Ryan, Ryan Hunter, James Wagner, Dalton Steele, Jimmy Pilon Rowdy going to get the top 6 spots. Tyler Manning, Dylan Grace, Dakota Isrig, and Eric Copperthorne, your front runners out of pit road. Sarah is saying it is pronounced BB. At least that's how I've heard it pronounced. So, okay, great. Well, at least I am not making a complete mockery of myself here. I'm making sure I'm getting the names right. So, Liam, I hope I keep going at the right name with that today, my good friend. Sorry about that. Feel like I kind of just patrol themselves around the track right now, kind of get themselves into a nice cozy position. So I'm currently just getting myself squared up on the surface here and getting everything kind of taken care of on my side, and everything's looking pretty good on my end. I have not streamed in a long time, guys, so hopefully the stream looks pretty good. It looks pretty solid on my end here. It's probably the clearest I've ever seen my streaming, honestly. For those that used to remember me as well, my name is Christian Schreiber. I was the former, if not probably the main voice for a long time. A lot of fans heard on this channel and heard around the world. Now I've returned here from a bit of a hiatus. Had real world racing to announce around the track, and so I just take a quick break from iRacing, but got the call from the Roughneck Racing guys, and they said, hey, we would like to get you in tonight as well still if you can. So I filled in and helped out with the track. I'm hoping to kind of succeed where everyone else has been done and see how well these drivers man up and fight up on the track here. I've seen their highlights and I've seen them on the track. They definitely can put on a good show and put on a good run here, and that's exactly what they're going to need to do here, because again, Talladega, no easy feat and no gimme around here. This place will take everything you got and eat you alive before you know it. There's a reason many famous drivers are well known around these parts of town. Drivers preparing themselves up yet again here, ready to go at it here. Some like this number 15, Gary Miller. He's ready to bring that Chevrolet Camaro back into the fight, back into the draw. Gonna be forced up on the outside lane there for this one here. Chris Ramsey also, another driver in this bunch. Driver of the number 13 Ford Mustang. Certainly got to be feeling pretty confident. I know he's got some of that old horsepower Mustang machine underneath him here. Poddle says, looks and sounds good. Thank you, Poddles. Appreciate your time. Poddles has been one of our longtime helpers around here, as well as also the one that kind of helped get me into this crazy little gig. So I do appreciate everything that she's been able to do for me, and I hope that I can somehow return the favor one day when all's said and done. But Poddles, I'll say this though, you've been around here long enough. Honestly, we've certainly this broadcast and we've seen these streams absolutely in some chaotic ways, but it's crazy to see how far technology has gone and how far we've been able to get these things up and running. It's amazing how quick things can go once you got the right equipment and everything now. We've squared them up off of turn number 3 and 4 this time by all drivers right now preparing themselves to go back to war on the track. The DEGADASH 266 ready to reel them on down through the set off the gate. Watch them start to kind of get themselves eager and ready. Patience is the hardest thing a driver of any sort can get through. And right now, the anxiety level is about to be kicked up a notch as we bring him back to the green flag once more for the DEGADASH 266. Once again, off to another strong start for the 33. And if I'm Ben Parsons right now, my thought is simple. Stay to the bottom and forget the rest of them. Don't worry about them. Just focus only on you and only you, my friend. Leading him down right now. Up on the high side, Ben Ryan here. Our lone Canadian driver here out of the American bunch. Trying to stick with the field and trying to stay on the merge on the drive. Got to be feeling some pressure there up on that top spot, trying to have to keep the momentum up constantly and trying to stay one step ahead of transitions as we roll them right through onto the backside here and down through off of turn number 2. Get a little on board here with Dylan Grace and that number 12 machine. And Dylan, again, probably looking on from this angle, just seeing what kind of openings he can get, what kind of spots he can really kind of rile up and kind of take through the drives here. But the thing is, every one of these drivers are going to be constantly in the throttle and constantly looking for advantages and find anything they can here. Rolling through the lanes and down through the drive. Still, now we have ourselves a new leader. James Wagner and the Ford Mustang has put the Wagner's welding to good use. He's looking to try to charge it hard there with Jimmy Pilen, Rowdy, and right behind him there. And of course, Ben Parsons was your race leader for just a brief fleeting moment there. Unfortunately, kind of got trapped in a bit of a tight spot, and it looks like he just got kind of ramped up. Again, it is early. Again, you got 100 laps to the distance, and you got moves and working to do. That's going to be big here, and definitely something they're going to need to do in this case. Mechanic, also saying casual spectator here. New Die Racing, thank you for your commentary. Mechanic, great to have you on board, and thank you so much for tuning on in. I hope we can provide as much of a show as these drivers do. That is always the goal on Speed Zone TV. Sarah Brooks saying, nice move, number 30. Yeah, Sarah, that was definitely an intriguing, a very strong move there. Again, he did start as your number 1 seed entering into this race here. He was your fastest qualifier. The fact that he's up where he is right now just shows you he's not just fast in the draft. He's a fast single car driver, but right now he's got some company as Jimmy Pilen is right there with him. Dylan Grace, I was mentioning just a second ago as well, moving the chains up a little bit more. Staying one step ahead of transition, staying one step in position. I got to think, too, a lot of these drivers were going in for fuel on that last go there as well. None of them staying out. Tells me they needed to refuel up, get themselves squared up, and give themselves some more time to kind of get squared out on the surface here. So I guarantee you that definitely is helping quite a bit in their case. As we go on board here with the number 88 of Jeremy W. Keltner. Keltner right now, he is 12 spots up, started in the dead last position from the outhouse. He's traveling to the White House, and he looks to get up past through the top spots and to the top seeds. And a bit of a dilemma, though, as you see him currently having to fight in a hard position here, in a hard drive on the lanes here. Right up on the outside, Ryan. Dalton Steele high up there, maybe just trying to build the drivers in that pack up to him. Maybe he's looking for help, or maybe he's having a little bit of a problem and he doesn't quite line up with the draft. He's going to back off and give him room. Smart thinking as a driver, just letting himself get out of the tumultuous spot of looking like a blocker and getting sent back to the shadow realm. It's going to be a very hard sell to have to get back up to that front. He's going to need some help, and he's going to need some workaround. Again, it's going to be a tough ordeal, all things considered. But again, we have seen crazier things happen. Mechanic could right now rooting on that number 88 and saying, keep it steady. I got to believe more than anything, too, that's got to be something there. Just dead set on, dead focused. That's one thing they'll really need to keep an eye on closer as we go. As you can see, even looks like the drivers, and if I'm not mistaken, I know I'm still learning a little bit about these next-gen Cup cars. My background's more in dirt for the heads up to anybody, but I do know a lot about the asphalt side. I'm just kind of curious to know, like, how much with that drag there on the bottom, having to run that setup, how much is that possibly affecting these drivers in terms of like getting that speed back underneath them or keeping it stable? Because you can see, if I remember right, the bottom axle splinters, those are what they're dragging right now, and as they keep going through those corners, you can see it's not a flat surface, folks. The thing is with all these racetracks, you look on TV and you see them on the thing. When you're watching them, the biggest situation you're going to see is that most of them are about as bumpy as the roads you are normally driving on. So imagine having to go on a road, and all of a sudden you're just driving on a bunch of potholes and having to literally try to keep that thing stable and straight. That's what these drivers are facing up against right now. They're not just facing the fact that they're getting bumped around and beaten up a bit. They're dealing with a horrendous amount of bumps and overall stink. Right there, you can see right there. You can see that little bump off the corners there. You can see, again, the track is not flat. It looks flat from the eyeball perspective, but when you're actually on that surface and you feel that racing wheel in your hand, you are getting a good feel of just absolute pure shock and terror when all of a sudden you feel like you're going over a bunch of potholes at such a high rate of speed and such a high bit of velocity. And again, these drivers right now, their top speeds are hitting about 200 miles per hour, 202, 203 on some of these drivers. So, and again, with that being lined in the draft, that is blistering fast, as it is absolute pure terror and insanity. So the more you go around them, the more you get through them. You're just hoping you don't get that wrong bump at the wrong time. Otherwise, well, let's just say it's a one-way ticket to the shadow realm. I don't know if anybody will get my Yu-Gi-Oh reference there, but yeah, at the very least, we'll see how well that goes right now, because certainly still Roughneck Racing guys doing a great job staying in control and in pace. As we are now approaching our 20-lap marker here. They are currently running it on to lap 19. They'll be on the 20-lap marker here in a minute. Sarah's saying it's harder than it looks. Oh, absolutely. Like that's the thing. I've said it before, and I'll keep saying it. It's like anybody that ever thinks racing in this stuff is easy, you need to make sure you go get them checked out, because there is nothing easy about racing on ovals. There's nothing easy about racing on road courses. There's disciplines beyond disciplines, and I will say this at the end of my days. I think endurance-wise and racing-wise, I think ovals are the absolute hardest to master, because you have to not only face drivers in the pack, drivers in the field, lap traffic. Oh, and situations like that, look out, we got problems. Problems off turn number 1. Car number 30 there, James Wagner getting smacked in the back, and this is exactly what I was telling you about. This is exactly what I mentioned just a minute ago. It just takes one wrong bump, wrong move, and it's a one-way ticket to where you don't want to go. We got to go look at the Speed Zone TV instant replay here. Let's look at this one. Oh, my goodness. It looked like a nasty little bump there on the number 12 into the 30. And as you can see, there's nowhere to go. You're in traffic, so at that point, you're just holding on by a prayer. That was not what the number 30 of Doug Wagner had in mind there. Oh, what a tough break there for him. One more look at it. See, take a closer look right here. Oh, there it is. There's the culprit right there of the number 27. he just gave a good enough bump there on the 12. And again, he wasn't intentionally trying to make him go down into the 30. What he was trying to do was trying to get that bump draft to push him up ahead and get it right up on through the field. And unfortunately, found himself in a nasty, nasty situation there. Oh, my. If you wonder what it's like to be inside of a race car when you wreck, here's a good look at it. And watch that wheel right there. You see the wheel just completely turned so quick. Again, straight as can be. As soon as he felt it, it was just reaction time at that point. And they're just hoping he didn't become a part of the trouble. Oh, man, oh, man, oh, man. What an absolute tough break and a bad situation there to be put into. Race fans, we will be coming right back at you here in just a moment after this quick commercial message.
Roughneck Racing would like to thank our sponsor, Wagner Welding. Wagner Welding is a family-owned and operated business located in North Wilkesboro, North Carolina. They specialize in custom-built truck beds and framework of all types. You can reach them at 336-670-3427 or visit the shop located at 446 DeHart Church Road.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, here back on the Speed Zone TV network here with Roughneck Racing here. As we again get through the DEGADASH 266. They so far have been fighting hard and fighting for what they can here. But unfortunately, a nasty little collision there with the number 30 sending him back into the pack here. And he's going to have to work his way from the outhouse and travel back into that White House. That's going to be a tough ordeal for him there. Looks like he'll at least be able to get some damage cleaned up and some fix-ups there. I guarantee you he's going to need every bit of it. But, man, as a driver, that's the one thing you never, ever want to see around here is that situation coming up on you. We'll see who makes it out first. Right now, I'm going to assume, looks like, yep, tire's going to be taken in. And, again, that's got to be something these drivers are facing up with big time here is control and steering. The high temperatures and everything here got to be absolutely cooking them quite a bit. And there you go. You see the instant repair is being put on number 30. He will return to action. And I guarantee you he's going to have a fiery look in his eyes to get through this one coming up. Looks like the 12 going to stay in pit road a little longer. I don't know if Dylan Grace maybe just fixing some extra damage up there that he might have sustained. Again, there is instant repairs, and then there is what we call pit crew repairs. Pit crew repairs can take usually a lot longer. Instant repairs are literally just that, an instant repair. Problem with that is you only get one or two of them usually in a race. Not often you ever get a leak that gives you more than one or two, if ever even two. Most of the time they want you to race at your top level, and they only give you one backup car to work around with here, especially in these dilemmas and these situations. And that's what these drivers are facing up against right now. Major Chubbage officialing. Wow, you went full Fozzie Bear on that wreck call. I don't think I've ever heard that reference, so that is a new one. I hope it's a good thing. If it is, really appreciate it. If not, I guess I'll have to tone it down a bit there. Sarah saying poor Dougie out there. Yeah, she was definitely feeling what I gotta believe of him and a lot of the other drivers were feeling there that were trying to work with him. But again, it is not over till it's over. I can promise you that much. I've seen drivers, and even myself, I've been in the back of the pack in the Shadow Realms, and then all of a sudden coming back to fight. I remember literally it was on another network, but it was not too long ago. I think it was 2 weeks ago. Watkins Glen, like lap 2, I spin out in turn 1. I got passed by like 21 other drivers. I'm in 22nd. One good pick all strategy later, and one good hard run, no cautions. Managed up to end up at 3rd. If you are fast, you know how to get back in the fight. If you know how to do it right, you can outsmart drivers in these fields and in these conditions. Number one rule is always drive smarter, not faster. You'd be surprised how much you can catch people off guard by that. But the thing is, if you're well ahead of the curve and you're well ahead of what other drivers don't see, you can outsmart them and you can catch them before it's too late. And play tracks are no different. Nice little limited run scheme on that number 2, Tim Richardson. I always love having a good little limited run game pop my way once in a while. They make some great content and definitely still support the physical community. Got to give the physical copy guys their love when they're due. something I truly do wish that media, movies, CDs, and everything would start doing more of. But as times are changing, we are streaming up on the networks here. It certainly shows you quite a bit on the circuit. Major's saying waka waka waka. All right, rock on. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to bring him right back onto the back straightaway here. This time on by, we will be setting him back to the green flag here. Lights are off on the pace car. Oh boy, you got to be wondering through these drivers' minds right now which one is getting that feeling, which one is getting that confidence to just make the next big move, make the next big trip up to the front. You can actually see a good difference between the noses of the Chevy, Toyota, and Fords there. You see the two Toyotas right there. Then you saw the Chevy nose of Dalton Steele as well as that Ford nose of Liam Beebe. Currently making their way into the position. Jeremy Kellner also in that fight. But your top five right now is Andrew Smith, Gary Miller, Ryan Hunter, Dakota Isrig, and Ben Ryan with Chris Ramsey in the sixth spot. Get ready to buckle them down, strap them in, get ready to rack, stack, and go back on the attack. Down the front straightaway on the tri-oval spot. We now send them back to the Wagner's Welding restart zone. Green flag coming out now. Pushers and goers, drafters and gaffers right now. They're all looking to get on the gas pedal and send it down their way. We are now going to get through 1/4 of the way done in this race. Major implications right now for these drivers as they continue to fight their way through the field and through the drafts and through the zones. I got to believe a lot of these guys right now are just hard on that gas pedal and hard on that nose. Looking to try to make the best of each other and trying to make the best of their runs. Dakota Isrig right now in the Skittles Ford Mustang right now, currently into the second spot with Gary Miller in the top spot here. Hard Charger as of right now, Gary Miller, 19 spots, started 20th. He is your Hard Charger award recipient right as of the moment. Will he remain to stay there or will he be put into a different spot? Time will tell. Man, all these guys right now just absolutely cooking on the momentum and cooking through the speed, just trying to find angles or openings they can get into and get down low on some spots there. I think that might have been the 16 of Liam Beebe there. You see him just go straight down quick there. Again, that's a bit of a reactionary type and a very tough spot to be in. I would not want to, in this world or any world, be one of those guys that goes down there as quick as you have to just to try to make that move or make that pass. That is literally a feat or a scare tactic that I've been very much afraid of. It's hard to really tell you exactly just what it's like to drive in these draft races without even being in it. The best way I can explain it, it's pure chaos and pandemonium. No matter which way you go or where you go, there is no give and no regards to give. You either run it or you don't, and that's the best way I can explain it. But with this next-gen car and this next-gen type, man, just trying to make certain passes or certain moves, oh my goodness, it's literally one of the scariest thoughts you can imagine out there. Tyler Barnes, that number 3 machine right now, he is pushing up hard and pushing quick right now with the number 29 there of Jimmy Pylon Rowdy. Funny enough there, honestly, you kind of get a little of a bit of deja vu down there. That 29 scheme looks very familiar. Obviously, we know the story of it, but just thinking about from past to present, kind of a crazy world that we've seen from when that debuted to when it came out from Atlanta there. I'll definitely say this, Kevin Harvick definitely earned his reputation and his respect in this very long-running Cup Series. And right now, it looks like currently that Jimmy Pylon Rowdy is trying to do much the same as that 3 of Tyler Barnes is in much the same way. Here we go in with a 3-wide pack tandem draft right now. All drivers right now trying to make their move and trying to make their charge. It's give and take and give and fight around these parts. Oh, a little bash up the bottom. Now trying to get it square back on the top. Can they square it up? Oh, that is no man's land down there. They hold on to it. Nicely done. Great driving there from the Roughneck boys. As like now we're going to see the 6-7. He's gone down the bottom lane here. Problems for the 6-7. Is he just trying to get out of the draft and away from everybody? It appears to be. Or maybe there's something else wrong. No, he'll get it back onto the circuit. But whatever the case, that is definitely not the place he wanted to be. I guarantee he wanted to stay up there, but probably thought better and said, okay, if I stay in this location, stay in this area, I'm going to find myself in more trouble than I'm going to find myself in good. So smart thinking on the face of Ben Ryan, but unfortunately for him, well, that just kind of gave him a one-way trip out of the draft zone, and now the rest of the field just trying to hang on as we're now 3 deep yet again. 3 deep off the burner there off turn number 2, and coming on the high side again. There is more speed to be had on that high side if you can get it to work, but the problem is this car is about as useful and working with as it is really trying to find yourself getting a nice, good, long milkshake in a line filled of nothing but burger shops. That's the best way I can explain it. Probably not my best forte, if you will, but basically I'm just trying to say it is about as tough as it gets, as it is trying to get that momentum back. It takes time, and it does take a lot of work. Got a little nose shot right now here at Tyler Barnes, as he is right behind the number 16 of Liam Beebe. You see the 13 as well there, Chris Ramsey. He's got the Freedom Machine right now in whole hard speed and whole power and momentum. And look right there on your right, just see how you can see how loose these cars are getting just from that slight bump of that slight tag. Again, we talked about it before, but just that little bump, that little push, it is so hard to get those things, not only to stay in draft, but just to be able to stay on the line and stay in the course. It absolutely wears and tears on them the more it goes. Still sticking on the momentum boost right now. Dakota Isrig right now doing everything he can to kind of keep up his drive there, but you can see that pump draft there. Just takes 2, and that's all it takes. Right now, you got a new leader for the moment, Chris Ramsey. Now will he decide to go down and leave Jimmy high and dry? Oh, no, it's the other way around, but nicely done there by Ramsey. He's able to maneuver down the bottom quickly there as Jimmy went down where with him, and Wagner right back into this mix yet again. That James Wagner kid, he certainly is some, isn't he? He's got some power, he's got some speed, and he says, my friends, you think I can't endure? You think I can't get around? Why don't you look at the back of my car and see what I feel? Fair enough on his part. James Wagner right now, he is absolutely getting it and sticking with it. That is the hallmark of a good driver and the hallmark of a tough as nails driver. You don't see too many of them, and they don't come by often. Bringing them down on the track and down to the surface levels here on the back straightaway. Wagner, now is he going to make his move? He's got the 5 of Shane Weldon right now working with him. Will he bring Shane with him, or will he stay up top and keep him there? It looks like if I am that 13, I'm telling that 29, get moving. Don't let him even think about it. And that's exactly what he's doing. But again, too much of that overdraft, too much of that push, it can also affect the oil temperatures inside those cars. Again, you may have seen this too. Well, you see a lot of these cars, they're pushing hard and pushing quick. Notice, though, that a lot of them, they either get a little bit loose from the draft and having to get into fresh, clean air to kind of straighten themselves up, or they're actually starting to overheat inside that car. You got to think for a second. If you block the air that goes through an engine or through the oil that's keeping a car nice and relaxed, well, imagine what it's like when you start to overheat the poor thing and it doesn't get enough water or air to breathe. You can guess what happens next. It is not pleasant. I don't recommend it. On board here, a little different shot here. We're on the gyro cam here with the number 7 of Dalton Steele. Don't worry, folks. I promise I'll get some new cameras in these things sooner or later. I've been telling the producers we got to get some more of them. I'll be working hard on it. Don't worry about that. Piling away right down on the bottom lane there is the number 98 machine, Eric Copathorn. Matthew Barker, the ace, if you will, in the 96, currently right on the tail and right on the nose. Remember earlier on, he got trapped in that big old wreck there. Did not end up in a good spot, ended up actually far back in the pack than he wanted to. He's slowly but surely making his way back up in that spotlight here. He's gone from, looks like he's gone from the 11th spot, excuse me, the 21st spot, and now moved into the 11th spot, I should say. He's hanging in there pretty good and doing whatever he can right now. Sarah saying, woohoo, team is all together now. Well, it looks like it. And they're making good work of it. All right, race fans, it's been a while since we've been able to do this, but it's time to cock lock and get ready to rock. We're going to the crank it up side of this race. Well, crank it up action right now as we are still back on there with that number 34, Mike Streminski. Again, if I am saying names wrong, please do not attack me or put down pitching forks here. You can whack me upside the head if you want, but please keep your pitchforks and torches down. I'd rather not destroy the channel. Please make sure if I am saying something wrong, let me know how to say your name right, please, drivers. A little bit of new crank it up overlay there. I kind of like what we did there, producers. Look pretty good. They've been telling me they've been working hard on some of these things. They've been working hard on a lot of this stuff around here. So it's been so long since I've been in the booth, man. Man, it's great to see when these things come out and see these new stuff here. Right now, though, Chris Ramsey in the number 13, still your race leader here with Jimmy Pylon Rowdy right behind him. And Jimmy, again, he has just been an absolute pushing magnet out there. He started 6th today. He's currently in the 2nd spot, but he has just been absolutely cooking it down there, getting some work done. Probably just trying to hold on and do for dear life and trying to make sure everything works correctly and everything right here. Matthew Barker, ace 996, also in the mix and in the hunt. He's working through some workarounds there. Staying nice and focused on his drive and staying nice and focused on his race roll here. You're going to see us a lot, too, with drivers here today, is what they're really just kind of dictating around is trying to make sure that when they have to get to a certain area or a certain spot, They'll make it crucial to get to pit road when they need to and get to themselves in a good spot here. And I gotta believe right now their pit roads are looking like they're gonna be opening up soon enough. That fuel run has gotta be irking and itching in the back of their minds right now. This DEGADASH 266 here for Roughneck Racing, presented in part by Wagner's Welding. Certainly something we were very interested to see how it would go, and we've seen pretty much the best of it. But now you're also seeing what happens when you get out of that draft line. You see up ahead 67 of Ben Ryan. Earlier on, unfortunately, well, he found himself on the bottom legs of the racetrack, and now he's in trouble. Like down around the track, where we're nearly halfway done with this race here, folks. Crazy to believe we are nearly halfway done with the circuit, halfway done with this race. So far, Chris Ramsey still your leader. And I think if I am now looking at this right, I think he's led the most laps so far. If I'm looking at everything right now, I think if he's not the most laps led leader, I mean, he's pretty close to it. He's been up there for quite a while. Best laps right now on the driver's side here. Looks like they've been laying down some 49.6s, 2s. Looks like our fastest overall, yes, indeed, was a 49.29. That was set by the number 7 of Dalton Steele. Now, again, you're going to have to kind of irk me from the, or kind of not think too much of the laps here in terms of speed and power, because again, this is a plate track, so these drivers are running restrictor plates inside these things, which makes these cars very hard to get those carburetors, those engines at full song and tune. And again, this is not as close or nearly the fastest these things can go. I'll tell you that right now. These engines, if they were left to their own devices, their own will, oh man, we sure would see some hard racing on these tracks the size of this one. They'd be going full song and dance, I guarantee you that much. Very interested, though, once we get the iRacing update for the 750 horsepower package, how much of a difference is that going to make for the other side of the coin that's not plate tracks? So literally like your Michigans, the old Atlantas, if they want to go there, the Charlottes, Texas, Homestead, Miami Speedways, those kind of tracks, because I honestly want to believe that that's going to make things a lot more tricky for those that thought they mastered this car, because now they're going to have more power and speed to endure with. Oh, excuse me, not the mile and a half. So I meant the short tracks and road courses. I apologize. I got my news notes mixed up here. So for those at home that do not know, in the NASCAR Cup Series as of right now, and I am saying this right, so please don't hunt me down on this one. This one's correct, I swear. The short track package, so a mile or less, and then everything that is a road course wise, has been upped from 670 to now a full 750 horsepower package, which in turn, for what the drivers have said in real life and now have kind of said throughout this package, that it's going to make those straighters a lot faster and get a lot more speed. So when these drivers have to go towards those tracks like Phoenix, Bristol, Martinsville, and all that, how much of a difference is that going to make in terms of quality and how they control themselves, as much as well of how they handle on the long-term scale? Because in my opinion, that's going to definitely factor in a lot of things here. That's going to really push them to their advantages and push them into a very tough spot, narrow gaps here. Working their way down from the lanes and down to the fields here. Everybody's still narrowing the gas pedal, narrowing down the momentum. No one is leaving anything to chance here. Matthew Barker, ace, the 96. He's now moved himself back to the top 5. Dylan Grace taking a step back there. And again, earlier on, we saw Dylan. He was hard on that gas pedal. Absolutely laying it down there and really keeping things up to top notch and top speed here. Kind of crazy to see just how much of a difference maker now he's kind of been put himself into in this situation here. Whoa, 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 what on earth? There, he's going the wall, and he's getting the other drivers. Hold on, no, no, oh my. Oh my good Lord, bad wreck there, unfortunately, for the number 12 of Dylan Grace. No caution out, though, it looks like. Oh, there's a caution now, there it is. Something must have broke on that number 12, because all of a sudden he was looking okay, and the next thing you know, he was just in the binders and down into the nasty stuff. We're going to the Speed Zone TV instant replay. Let's look at this again. What on earth happened to the 12? That's my guess right there. It looked like a tire went straight down. Look at that thing. It went straight right on him. That usually doesn't happen unless a tire goes down on the driver, but that was just a scary wreck there. My word. Nothing they could do and nowhere to go, and all of a sudden this. One more look at it. See if we can see exactly. Well, the wheel stays perfectly straight, so yeah. That had to have been a tire going down on Dylan. Never would I have thought tire wear would have been so important here for these cars, but man, it seems to be the case now. You cannot take tires for granted in this race. You know, I used to keep saying a lot of times with these kind of races that really you only need to really worry about the tire wear when you got more speed and more power and you're on a shorter end of the track. And I didn't really think for 1 second the tires were actually going to wear up that much on a plate track. Unless it was the 87 Cup Series, which, you know, I've talked about it before, but yeah, that definitely will do it. Major saying controller failure. Oh, well, I didn't even think about that. Major, was he on a racing wheel or was he actually on like a controller? Because if he's on a controller, I'll give him credit. That's pretty impressive for how well he was holding on to that thing on this sim, because that's not an easy feat. I'll give him that any day of the week. Drivers heading into pit road right now. We'll see how they fare getting in and out. Dylan Grace, unfortunately, though, I think this race might be all but over for him there. You can see the damage, nasty damage on that 12 there. What a tough break for Dylan. Nothing they could do about it, and just a horrible, horrible break on their part. Out of pit road, it's going to be Jimmy Highland Rowdy. It's going to get the top spot here. Things are cooking up around these parts of town here, folks. And when we come back, more action to be had here from Roughneck Racing.
Roughneck Racing would like to thank our sponsor, Wagner Welding. Wagner Welding is a family-owned and operated business located in North Wilkesboro, North Carolina. They specialize in custom-built truck beds and framework of all types. You can reach them at 336-670-3427 or visit the shop located at 446 DeHart Church Road.
And welcome back live here on Speed Zone TV, race fans, for Roughneck Racing yet again here in the Wagner's Welding Cup Series. This is the DEGADASH 266 or 266. I don't know why I keep saying 266. Maybe I've just been to way too many Slipknot concerts, if you get that one. Ryan Hunter right now, Mike Streminsky, Justin Wine, Jeremy Kellner, Gary Miller coming out of pit road with a little bit of a leg up from their original spots and their positions. Major Chubbage saying not a clue. Looks like something lost a signal, or he went to get a chicken sandwich. Well, Major, you know, someone did ask earlier where the popcorn stand was around here. Maybe he just was looking for a little bit of popcorn. I don't know. Although I don't think that was anything that he in his mind was ever expecting to do. That is still a horrible situation to be put into and a tough break there for them. So without a doubt, that's one thing I hope that he is okay. He's going to be able to kind of recover from that. That was a nasty little situation they found themselves in. Sarah saying just went and asked there. Sarah, if you give us a clue, make sure he's okay in the car there. He took a nasty hit there. I hope he's okay there. That was a nasty little hit he took there. Say what you want about sim racing here, folks, but I'll tell you this, when you're working with a wheel that's got 8 Newton meters up to like 20 Newton meters, when you have that wheel all of a sudden just go slamming right into something or get hit or just taking a nudge off something, That force feedback is enough to break your wrist, and I am not kidding either. It is genuinely well known that you can actually hurt yourself using that kind of equipment. This is not a joke or not a field you want to mess around with. This is serious hard racing and hard driving from every single vantage point, every single person that comes onto the circuit. The Roughneck guys right now are doing everything they possibly can to stay one step ahead of the curve and one step ahead of trouble as we are leading down to lap number 48 here. Field working their way around. Top 10 drivers right now: Justin Wine, Mike Stremensky, Ryan Hunter, Liam Beebe, James Wagner, Eric Coppathorn, Brian Lashbrook, Dakota Isrig, Chris Ramsey, and Jimmy Rowdy. We're going to lead them down off the circuit here, off the front straightaway once again. Every man, woman, and driver for themselves here as we are ready to roll them back out on the circuit and back onto the drive off of turn number 3 down the 4 down to that front straightaway. They lead him back down to the green. Sarah saying its fast repair is gone, isn't coming back after that one, unfortunately. Well, we do hope, Dylan, we can see you next time out on the circuit, sir. We hope you are okay as well. Field worked on their way right back onto the circuits here. Looks like got some new markers to show you too here. A little time zone difference here and where they come and where they go. Gotta admit, it's pretty sweet, their producers. They changed so many things around here, man. I can't even believe it. There's so much data, time, and everything. Like, I'm glad I got all this stuff still when I'm doing the real life stuff. But man, they got a lot of stuff that they're showing these days. It's incredible. Never thought I'd see how quick, far, and racing can go from this time of world. Right now, we got a battle for the race lead. And funny enough, it is right now between two guys that were earlier working with each other. Ramsey and Rowdy. The 13, the 29 on the top and the bottom right now. And now at this point, they are working off their own little devices, their own little situations here. We'll see how well that works as we are now at the halfway point. Marked down through the field right now, and everybody trying to keep one step ahead. Kellner right in the mix there with the number 67 of Ben Ryan. Ben Ryan again early on got himself into a bad spot. Now seems to finally given himself an opening or maybe some sort semblance of it to stay in this race. But again, is it too little too late, you wonder, or will he have enough time to keep himself in this lane and keep himself in this position? Ben Parsons right now, earlier on again, this guy right here, he was leading a good majority of this race and a good chunk of it, keeping his tail and nose clean throughout that. But now it seems as though that he's kind of found himself in a bit of a dilemma. Hasn't really been able to keep up with the pace and keep himself in that top spot. But then again, I could be just wrong, and he just could be laying in wait, just kind of waiting it out. Let the other drivers try to mess themselves up or get themselves in more trouble. working down through the fields and down through the zones right now. Lashbrook, your new leader. And he's got Wagner right behind him. Those guys right now, I got to believe, just absolutely cooking at the speed and cooking at the momentum, just trying to stay one step ahead of the carnage and one step ahead of trouble if it a bruise or ensues. How many of these drivers you got to be thinking, just literally once they get into this draft line right here, just got to be thinking, oh, please, other driver behind me, don't do anything on my sides or on my corner panels. Just keep that nose lined up with the middle and keep pushing then. Like, it's hard to do it with any car on the circuit. Don't get me wrong there. I've never been in any race on iRacing that ever had a car that was easy to push from the back and keep it stable the whole time and draft up the entire time. The only thing that came close, I would say, is probably when the Craftsman Truck Series was back at its point. It was actually a little bit easier to push those things around, but nowadays, that's far beyond it. You cannot push anything around in this sim without it getting absolutely all over the place or out of shape. These things, especially though, are the most egregious. Not in a bad way, it's just they are hard to control. They literally are the Cup Series, so you expect these drivers to be the best at the best and wheeling and dealing. That's why it's so hard to make it into this industry. And definitely they don't drive themselves, I'll say that much, Formula One. Anyway, wait, what? Who said that? All jokes aside right now, right at the moment, we are still on the verge and on the road right at the moment. And for the record, I'm talking about the cars in that series I mentioned. I'm not talking about the drivers, because there is legit like 2 or 3 incredible drivers I would love to see running these things. I guarantee you they put up a fight with these NASCAR guys. And I even want to mention they probably put up a fight with these guys too, because these Roughneck boys, they are no joke, and they're fighting hard. I've said it already, but I'll keep saying it. They are literally having to steer and maneuver around with so many ways that could go wrong, and that almost went wrong. That about went south for the winter quicker than it did here in my state. My word, he was all the way down in somewhere in Ohio before he brought that thing back down here in Alabama. How the heck did Lashbrook not end up in the wall there with his guy right behind him and James Wagner? That thing was about inches away, and he somehow steered it back down and got it corrected from that mishap. Very good driving on their part, but how much that affected overall in their situation, you wonder. That could be a factor that could be causing troubles. You're on board right now with the 96 as he is pushing and shoving his way right back into the mix as well. Matthew Barker right now doing everything he can to kind of stay in that zone. But right now, Wagner has got Lashbrook right up ahead of him and back into the draft. But it's the 3 of Tyler Barnes and that 96 of Matthew Barker. Hot on the nose and hard on the trail. They're now your new leaders. Man, oh man, oh man. You got to be thinking to yourself, how the heck are they just cooking that speed and cooking that rhythm out there? That is some insane control and body rhythm and movement there. These guys are putting onto the track here. That is absolutely impressive. And I can only just go off from experience and tell you that feeling that car that loose, that off-centered, it gives me the heebie-jeebies right now just thinking about it. I've never been a huge fan of plate track racing inside the car, but when you're outside it, it is definitely go-to watch TV. And the thing is, it's just so chaotic and so rhythmic, it literally can send you squirrely and send yourself square out into the shadow realm before you know it. Just the mere fact that they've been able to hang on and hang into there wherever they go and wherever they drive is beyond impressive in my opinion. Marching down the field and down to the track. Again, we are rolling lap after lap, losing time on the draft. Again, now you need to really be asking yourselves, how much did the tires wear off? How much did the fuel give in? You know, can you hold your line down a little bit longer here or there? Can you hang on in the right position or in the right spot? Because all now it's going to take is just one little hiccup and one little give. And, well, you're going to be wishing you had. We're on the blimp cam right now, high in the sky. Wagner's welding blimp up in the air. Yeah, we still got blimps running around here in 2026, folks. Ain't that something? We're bringing back the chase format for the point system, and we're keeping the old blimps, the Goodyear blimps alive with the Wagner's welding blimps alive. How about that? Up on the outside lane right now, you can see they're trying to get the draft train going. You got to chug along, get the coral moving. You got to get that coal rolling and dealing into the engine compartment. You got to get the fire burning and brewing. And you got to make sure you are just ready to give it as much as you got. And that's exactly what Dakota Isrick is right now, hoping to bring these drivers up to with him as they are hunting down that 96 of Matthew Barker. Crazy to think that 3 of Tyler Barnes earlier, he was the one doing all the pushing and shoving there. It looks like he also kind of pushed our camera in a bit there. That's how far you know he's into that draft zone there, folks. Didn't even realize how far he was in there. Oh, my bad. Continuing to lay down the momentum and lay down the drive. And again, look at the lap times too. You can see a bit of a time gap difference. Now again, that may not look like much to you, 0.3 of a second, but you gotta think for a second. You as a driver, when you are in a track this tight and this close, those tenths of a second are a huge difference maker for the long haul and that long run. You are constantly in the throttle and constantly trying to hold on to that lane choice and that line that you're after. You're having to fight so much and so quickly that at some point it really becomes a matter of just timing and execution before you land yourself in absolute danger zone here. Something to know too, folks, if you haven't already here with our YouTube channel, be sure to like and follow us up and subscribe on the YouTube side. If you also want some more content, feel free to check us out on Facebook, Speed Zone TV and RC. Gladly would love to show you more things and more stuff as we go along the road. And if you like having us on the board and everything, and you like hearing my voice, or just at least like me just being absolutely chaotic and just wanting to call out a crazy race, feel free to let me know. Let the entire world know Speed Zone is listening as much as the world will listen. We do appreciate your time and appreciate your support. Appreciate also just these Roughneck guys giving me a chance here as well to come out here as well. Give a show, try to put as much of a show in that voice of mine with the same way they are putting inside those hands and gloves and suits inside those cockpits, burning hot cockpits, I might add right now. Again, it's 91 degrees here in Alabama, so these guys are reaching temperatures of like 120 degrees inside those cockpits. If they're like me and they just got over getting a nasty little cold or sickness, man, that feels like a sauna inside of those cars. And I guarantee you right now, considering it's still colder weather out here, I guarantee you they probably don't mind it too much. But I'll tell you one thing that's going to get hot right now is that hard run there. That's the 27, Orion Hunter, the burnt peanut machine. Camaro is right now moving the chains and moving a fight to the guard and to the drivers. And Tim Richardson, limited run driver right now in that Ford of Andrew Smith. They haven't really been hard. They've been a little bit behind tonight. They're fighting quick and they're fighting hard. This is a great battle here from all drivers as they line up and team up to face the draft. That's a thing too. You'll see a lot of drivers that fight hard and they'll fight good with these draft zones, these draft lanes. Again, they are fighting not just for survival, they're also fighting to keep themselves one step closer to their positions. And my word, that could have been ugly. Oh my, the two there of Tim Richardson. You saw him get a little bit too close for his liking there with Brian Lashbrook. I don't know how Lashbrook didn't send him back into the pack and into the outskirts of the depths of destruction, but my goodness, good driving on both there for holding on that lane. That could have been nasty. Andrew Smith right now in the second spot. Your new leader is Tim Richardson, as they've got a who's who of drivers now lined up in the draft. And again, it's very odd there. You're seeing a lot of them go into that bottom lane in your mind. Well, you got to think for a second. The outside lane is really a passing zone, whereas that bottom lane is just to hold on and kind of keep yourself squared up. But again, you're trying to stay away from those corner edges of the yellow line, because the thing is, once you go below that yellow line, well, let's just say that flat car that you have finds a way to get trapped in a no man's land situation, and that's not something you want in any regards here, because the thing is, the further you go into that zone, it's going to be a lot harder to steer it back down. You can see just right here from what you're seeing on your onboard with James Wagner, you can see just how quick that banking kind of pops up and kind of throws them off. So again, it's flat on there, when you're going on from the baking to that flat zone, well, let's just say it's about as bad as those little ripples and cracks and streaks that this track has been burnt up from. Again, the circuit is not by any means a flat surface. There are so many ridges and bumps and little corners here. You've got to be careful. It's almost like a dirt track, if you will, in some ways, to some of these guys. The only difference is again, there's more grip and speed that allows you to nail down that momentum and nail down that power. And you're getting a good glimpse of it right here and now. Top 3 drivers will talk with us at the end of the show as well, folks, so we cannot wait to hear with them. Hopefully you stick around to hear what they had to say about tonight's racing action and all that. I certainly would think they would love to hear your voice and see them on the show here. Remaining clean and green here down in Talladega for the DEGADASH 226 or 266. Well, there's definitely a reason why Fox or NBC will never hire me. Running them down for the circuits and running them down to the lanes here. Every driver for themselves still. And again, it's very interesting right now. I know I was talking earlier about those that were staying on the bottom lane. Very, very interesting strategy we're seeing here. Tim Richardson, Andrew Smith, and Tyler Barnes. They're all the way on the top side right now, the middle group. They have yet to leave that lane. Could it be they're trying to pull a defensive maneuver? Are they trying to hold everybody else down and trying to keep themselves in the proper lane condition? Very, very interesting strategy. You got to be kind of wondering yourself, like, is this really the best situation, the best timing course for them? If it is, then I guarantee you one thing is for certain. They are absolutely looking to nail down that momentum, nail down that run the longer this goes. Let's look a little bit in the middle of the pack here with Jeremy Keltner. And remember, he was your slowest driver of the field in terms of qualifying lanes, but you wouldn't have thought it now because he is 14 spots up right now in the 8th position. Absolutely cooking it down on the circuit. I think so far we've only lost Shane Weldon and Dylan Grace from the race here. Both drivers unfortunately suffering sustainable damage that not allowing them to get back out on the circuit. As much as we'd love to see some modifieds out on the track, the problem is that in this series, you really don't want that here on this track. I don't think they can pull a Tyler Reddick with one less fender and be able to make themselves much faster and much more durable down there. Through the paces and through the drive right now here on board here with Dalton Steele and the number 7 machine. As he gets a little bit aggressive there right up on the outside lane, trying to get pushed that number 96 of Matthew Barker. Can't quite get it lined up, so he's going to evade some action, go down the bottom lane, get away from that troublesome zone. And again, there's times, again, as a driver, you just got to pick and choose your battles. You can't make every run, everything count the way you'd like it to. You're constantly in that throttle and constantly in that game plan zone. But it's really interesting right now. See, there's a lot of drivers kind of maneuvering themselves down the bottom lane now. Looks like we're going for a fuel strategy pit stop here coming up soon. Yeah, a lot of guys getting down that bottom lane, getting down there quick. We got one right now that is currently far out of the reach of the speed here. Again, looks like we have 2 of them as well missing, Tyler Manning and Ben Parsons. They are way back in the draft here. Trying to get a number on that 77 there. I can't quite get a number on him here. Oh, there he is. That actually it's supposed to be the 18 of Justin Wine. So yeah, Tyler Manning and Ben Parsons right now, they are currently in a bit of a dilemma. They are far beyond the pack here and far beyond the lanes. You're probably wondering at home, why am I seeing a different number when you said he's the 18? Well, here's the thing, guys. In iRacing, there are different types of sim stamp numbers you can use. You can use the normal, you stamp it on the car that iRacing gives you, and you just basically design whatever they give you there. Or there is what even all my cars have, and I know a lot of these guys are running right now, and what you just saw from Justin Wine, we call them custom numbers. So what they are is you basically turn the sim stamp numbers off in your settings, basically then just throw a custom number of your choosing, your design, your style up, and I'll tell you, there's some wicked looking cars in iRacing, and it's not just these bad boys. Although I must say the Roughneck boys and gals and gang have definitely thrown out some absolute bangers of schemes tonight. Gotta love some of these looks on them. I've already mentioned that 2 earlier, but I mean, even a solid look on that 3 earlier. Got a nice little Skittle scheme on from Dakota as well. We saw Ryan Hunter's got very interesting. I think it's a very interesting scheme there. I think it's a YouTuber if I remember right. Someone correct me in the comments, but very interesting paint scheme. I love the peanut numbers design though. That's pretty sweet. Of course, you got that Gainbridge style, I believe, of the Front Row Motorsports guys. There's Dalton Steele, good look, and then of course you can't forget Lashbrook and Wagner's schemes there. Very good looking machines there. As everyone now into pit road, pit stops engaged. See if everybody comes out clean from it there. They did, except for Justin Wine there. The back spins it right off of that entry there. He'll have his own little dilemma to deal with as we roll him through. Matthew Barker, Eric Copperthorne, and Mike Streminski is going to stay out. Here comes a pit stop cycle here. We roll them through the field. Who's going to get out first and who's going to get out on time right now? That is the question. Rolling them out. Looks like it's going to be the 3 of Tyler Barnes, and then I'm going to get out first with the bunch in there. Tyler Barnes making it out. Looks like Tyler Manning and the rest of the field going to get into pit road now. We'll see how this goes. Now, again, those other drivers are going to get up to speed pretty quickly here. So Copperthorne, Stremensky, and Barker cannot make a mistake here. If they want to land that speed and land that drive here, they're going to need to be very careful. Sarah's saying Ryan always has interesting paint schemes. All right, good to know. Right now, Barnes, Ryan, they are getting up to power and up to speed. Manning's still on the track, surprisingly, here. I wonder if, kind of wondering if his strategy was kind of stay out a little bit later than these drivers and try to catch up and just use their draft line when they catch them here. We'll have to see, because now Stremensky, Barker, and Copperthorne are coming out. But here's a problem, and that problem is coming up right ahead of them. They are trying to hurry and get back into the draft line quick, but they are nowhere near pit exit, and the field is now just absolutely bringing the speed. But maybe staying out that one lap later, does it help enough to stay in control and possibly get themselves a chance here? Copperthorne's got a chance, actually, to get himself back in that draft line. If he can catch up here, there's still a chance. And if you're on the other drivers right now, I'm a bit nervous, because that is not something you want to see as someone who has an extra lap or 2 of fuel on you. I don't care who you are. When someone's got a lap or 2 of fuel on you, you might as well consider yourself in major trouble. Manning is in pit road as well now, so it looks like his strategy didn't quite go according to what I thought he was going to, or at least that's what I was assuming he was trying to do. This will be a very big dilemma coming up here, folks. Well, for the last bid, just for a few more laps, I guess we'll let the drivers do the talking as we bring it back to our Crank It Up. A little bit of some cranking and a little bit of some spanking on there, right? That 29 on that 15. Gary Miller getting tagged a little bit there in the back and kind of sent him off a little bit into the distance, as Jimmy will move up one stage ahead of him in the position board. Tyler Barnes, your race leader right now, and again, had to really charge and hard quick for that one, but he has made it work so far. No one is safe, though, as we are coming closer and closer to the end here. Got to be thinking in the back of your mind now as a driver, just what's left, how much do I have that I can keep up with these guys and keep up with these drivers. Can I stay out of trouble just a little bit longer? That focus and that spot that you're in right now, I know what they're feeling. I know what these guys and gals have been through. It's a feeling you just can't quite explain, because it's just, you're hoping and praying that Lady Luck is on your side. The racing gods are looking down on you with good intentions, or are you just finding yourselves in that one wrong position to find yourself in the worst possible spot? It's so many things that goes through your mind as a driver, and literally questioning everything. Because when you get to that final bit, that final last bit of last racing, it truly is game on time. There is no gimmies. There is no quit. You are literally either going to win this race, or you're going to put yourself in the best possible position to win this race. That's all you as a driver would think about, and you would go through in the back of your mind, as now a good bunch of the field has squared back up. We stacked a few of them back in right now, as we've lost a few of them, unfortunately. The main crux there, Wagner, Dylan Grace, as well as Matthew Barker, in a bit of a bad spot right now. Good to see Dylan was at least able to get the car back in shape just enough to get back out on the track, and at this point probably trying to help some teammates or some guys out right now. Mike Straminski right now, man, talk about being kind of a sleeper here. The number 34 driver hasn't been, I haven't talked much about him, but he's been kind of quiet. He's almost like a silent assassin down there. Just kind of laid low, and now all of a sudden he's in the second spot. And if you want to know this too, he started 17th. He's in second right now. He's our Hard Charger Award recipient so far. Funny enough, he's riding the same scheme that I have kind of always associated Gold Standard with. There's another guy that you may have seen here before, and I called him the Gold Standard here. Usually he's just got a gold paint scheme and just a little bit of black lettering it, just to kind of keep it simple and sweet. But man, is he at one bad, fast customer. And right now, I think he's kind of channeling that inner driver in that position where he's doing right now. But yeah, he's got a little bit of company coming up on his doorstep. Ryan and Dakota. And they've got help coming. The 16 of Liam Beebe is now right there as well. The Party City Machine trying to get up there with the Burnt Peanut and the Skittles cars. Dakota on the outside lane right now, looking to mash that gas pedal down, make another big run to the top, and around we went. He's got a good look up there, and he's looking pretty solid as can be. Makes it good, drive off, makes it through. Well done by Dakota, but will now he go down? He's got room, he's got a driver with him, he's got the lead. But if you're Liam Beebe right now, I don't know if I am too thrilled with that one there. Does all the pushing, does all the shoving. This is what he gets in return. He'll get a little bit of help there from Chris Ramsey. The 13 allowing him back in. That certainly will help their chances here with that draft line, that draft situation. But again, which one of these guys will go to the outside lane again and make that move or that charge, or will they try to be super aggressive and push that bottom lane around enough to get them squirrely and then go to the outside and make the charge? Defensive line racing and defensive moves out on the track and everything through here. Man, they are absolutely taking it through and in a very tough situation. 18 laps left to cook here. The DEGADASH 266 right now. Man, just what must be going through all these drivers' minds, what must be going through their thoughts, their opinions, and their souls here. Again, you got 2 drafting packs right now in this situation. You can see the difference in how far they are from one another. Funny enough, Ben Parson right now is the one that's kind of keeping the bridge, the gap, if you will, for that other pack. Is he possibly starting to notice that a bit and trying to keep the other guys behind him here? Well, too little too late, because right now there is a massive runner coming in. His name is Jim Richardson. Richard right now is absolutely cooking. And he tells the boys behind him, let's start moving. Time for a limited run to be put on display. Because right now he is in a bit of a bad spot here. He's trying to get help. He's got 1, now he's got 2. Tyler Barnes joins him with the 4. Andrew Smith, Richardson, and Barnes looking on. Now they'll get another driver, the 88 machine, Keltner. He's now looking through. Same with the looks like that 15 of Gary Miller and even the 67 of Ben Ryan. These guys right now absolutely pushing their grounds and pushing their drives. They're trying to do everything they can to get that top spot, and I think Ryan Hunter was much aware of that. He moves it right ahead of Chris Ramsey and gets it ahead there of Dakota. Now, will these drivers do what they need to do and keep that charge alive, or will they start to try to break off and bridge the gap again? We're going to be down with 16 laps to go this time on by. Lap traffic right up ahead of them there. They're going to make their way around the number 78, Tyler Manning here. Manning just trying to keep the sun drop machine out of trouble. Oh, no! We've got trouble! We've got problems! Oh, no! Swinging and a hit there, and somebody gets the nasty end of that run down there off of turn number 1. Jimmy Rowdy right now looks to be the recipient of the worst of it, but we're going to have to go to the replay and look at this one a little more carefully. What the heck happened here? All right, there you can see again. Looked like maybe he just got a bit off more than he could chew. Dakota catches the 29. Great save by the other drivers, and everyone just doing a great job staying out of trouble. That could have been much worse than it was. You got to give these guys credit. Not only did they just avoid the big one, they also, in my opinion, saved themselves for a good little bit of this race now. They have a chance here. That's impressive, in my opinion. Taking our look. We'll get a couple angles of this one, but take a look at this. And again, you can see Jimmy tries to go to the bottom lane. He's trying to get down there, trying to get a run. He's got a good push, and he's trying to get the other guys down. He gets a little too close for the 40 and then just sends him around. But watch this save. Again, power save there by Dakota and a power save there by Copperthorne. Great moves there by them and a good reaction from the 29 and the 7. Despite getting loose and a bit out of control, they saved that thing. Well done there on both drivers' ends. Absolutely top-tier saves and maneuvering there from these guys. Look at it again. You can see just how quick it goes, man. Look at that. Look at that wheel running, man. Look at how quick they have to get back on that wheel and just try to get it to square up. Trying to avoid more damage, more situation. Clear of problems. That is your Speed Zone TV instant replay, brought to you in part by our friends at Wagner's Welding. Wow. I mean, I'm not even trying to hype that up, guys. I'm genuinely impressed with how well they all came out of that one, drove through and drove into that situation. Very clean maneuvering and running from everyone there. That's not something in official lobbies you see all that often, let alone in the Pro Series. These guys usually, they get themselves into that mess. It's a lot harder to hold on to those things than you realize. Very impressive work there from these drivers, man. Absolutely impressed with them. Can't say enough there. Looking on at our drivers right now, everybody trying to get in and out of pit road as quickly as possible here. Out of pit road, the race is going to be Tim Richardson, Andrew Smith getting the top spot. Dakota Isrig, Tyler Barnes, and Ben Ryan going to be your top 5 out of pit road. "13 laps remaining here in this race, in this shootout of a fight, this shootout of a battle." Every one of these drivers have got to be feeling the same thing right now. Just how far and how long will they go in this quest, in this drive to take top honors? So the field now looking on at their fight, on at their drive right now. Got to be believing in themselves and believing everything they're going to do here with what they've got left. But this, in my opinion, is going to be the absolute toughest position they're going to be in all race long. And that is, will they be able to maneuver the gaps, maneuver through positions here with only so many laps left? 13 left to go. You heard that right, 13. Top driver, Tim Richardson and Andrew Smith, your top 2 guys. Looks like Tim deciding to go to the outside lane for this restart. I hope his luck is better than mine, especially when I was running Knoxville the other night, because, man, that was not a good choice on my part, going to the outside when I was leading. Credit to Michael for winning that race. So he ran clean, ran good. I just got a little silly on my part, but nevertheless, field going to work their way through and down on the track here. Race fans, I want to hear your comments. I want to hear you down below. Who is going to win this race? Name them off. I want to hear them. Ader's going for Keltner down there. Sarah doesn't want to jinx anyone. All right, fair enough. But we will square him up off the front straightaway, past the tri-oval to the Wagner's Welding restart zone. 13 laps left to give it here at Talladega. Who wants it more? The DEGADASH 266 continues. Richardson right out of the gate, big draft partner. Andrew Smith, big draft partner. Both guys right now going to fight hard for this one. Mechanic says ADA here is their choice. Keltner got a lot of love down there. Keltner, you got some work to do, my friend. He's got time. As all drivers now jockey for position, jockey for their run. Everybody right now doing what they can. Everybody right now just trying to hold their lane. It is Andrew Smith, your leader for the moment. Richardson, though, man, what a pump draft he got there from Tyler Barnes. He is pushing that bad boy. He is getting a full lot of shove and a full lot of drive here. Everyone wants to get this one dialed in. We have 11 laps left, need to be completed. Somebody's got to give an inch. Who makes the mistake? Who offers the opportunity? All drivers have been looking good so far. Big jump there from Richardson. He goes to the bottom, gets it ahead there from Smith. Smith now has to make the decision. Does he keep pushing or does he lay off and try to find another opening? The 15 now, Gary Miller, he's in that hunt there. He's pushing up there with Tyler Barnes. They're all in it to win it. Nobody is safe here. Which driver gets too much? Which one gets a little too eager? That's going to be the name of the game right now. Everybody just trying to do what they can and stay one step ahead of the transition. Barnes up on the outside line right now, and he's a bit of a crossroads because no one's trying to push him hard. No one's really getting to him. Whereas the other guys up front, they are starting to now rally the gas, rally position. Big swing from Ben Ryan in the 6-7, the Elite Motorsports machine, right up to the front. Doesn't have a draft partner just yet, but he'll get one. Here comes Barnes. Going for a big push, big swing, big hit. Now Gary Miller right into the mix. Oh, man, you got to be feeling just those undercarriages getting pushed down into the ground and pushed all around. Dakota Isrig, he now moves his way in. No one is giving an inch. We have 10 laps left to finish it. Now down to 9. Everyone now looking on carefully again. You can see the pushers and shovers are just hoping to stay out of trouble, backing off when they have to. When they get a little too squirrely like that, they know they got to give it up a bit. Barnes did. He got out of the throttle. He knew he was in trouble. Ben Ryan holds it. Dakota right there with him. And Dakota leaves old Ben high and dry. Dakota to the lead. But for how long? Ben's getting a good push. Can the lone Canadian driver bring his brothers and sisters up north down to Talladega with a big win? You're about to find that one out. Oh, my. We're getting some speed and momentum cooking up around here. No one is leaving an inch on the track there. Putting it all on the line with 8 laps left to go. Some hard movers up front. Watch out, Tyler Manning. He's back on the lead lap, and he's up there. He's trying to get something going. Is he possibly thinking about creating the 3 tandem draft for the final spots? He's getting help, and he's getting a lot of it. Jimmy Pyle and Rowdy right now is in the mix, and he's got help from the 33 as well of Ben Carson's. Carson's doing what he can, but he is currently in a bit of a bad spot right now. No one is giving an inch on the middle and bottom. And the outside lane is not getting anything to work. If you want to get to the front right now, you need a pack. You need a draft. You can feel the intensity. You can feel the energy. You can cut it with a knife. Oh, look out down there. They're squirrely. They are backing off. Trying to stay out of trouble. Straminsky backing out. Same with Keltner. Keltner thrown way back into the mix. And problems for Keltner and Straminsky. Not enough time to get back in that draft. We will remain clean and green, though. But did that move, unfortunately, cost Keltner any chance or any hope? I don't mean to jinx it, but that's certainly going to be a very difficult position to go back from. And he knows it. Tyler Manning right now, the sun drop 78. Remember earlier on, he was getting lapped down. Oh, trouble. Oh, my goodness. 4 or 5 of them in this one, and the big one squared up off of the front straightaway. Do not go anywhere, folks. This one is not over yet. What the heck happened there? All right, there you see Pylan this time. Last time he got into it, unfortunately, and again, that's a very tough spot to be in, a tough predicament. Nothing you can do as a driver. It's really just at that point, hang on and hope for the best. Nasty, nasty wreck there from all sides of the coin there. Give you a good couple angles here to look at. You can see right there again, Pilot, he just came down ever so slightly. Last time he was the one in the rear. This time it's on the front of the nose. Can't save it. It was on its last leg, and it ended up going for a wild ride here in Talladega. One more look at it. Watch again, Pilot comes down. He's trying to get back into the draft. Got a little too eager, probably a little too loose. And the car nowhere to go, and you can see everybody just in a messed up little situation, just getting wheeled or checked in there, unfortunately. And that now has literally changed this race by a mile here. Now we got to wonder who is going to be able to take advantage of this. This is going to turn into a green-white checkered situation here, a scenario that I don't think many of these drivers were trying to find themselves in. That's definitely going to get them in a very tough ordeal. Major Chubbage says, so much for that. My bad. I'm going for a chicken sandwich. They actually make a nice sauce. While you're at it, can you make a phone call and then come back to us when you're done, buddy? Well, Adam Sprinkle says Kellner has to put in some work. It would be cool to see him get that one. And yeah, right now he's going to get a very good chance here. Mechanic as well is going to get a little luck as well, get a chance here. I'm sorry if I say this name wrong, but Vertical saying 7 cautions, race back to the lead lap, wins it on the high line. Well, there's a chance now. There's a very tough little dilemma there. But right now, I don't think Dylan Grace, unfortunately, will be able to get into this one. I think the car may be a little too totaled out after that one. You saw him late in the wreck there. He got nailed by Ben Parson after spinning out and uncontrollably. Woo! Getting goosebumps here in the booth here, ladies and gentlemen. You never know what will happen next. You never know what to expect next. All you do know is you can just expect chaos to ensue. Sarah said he got blasted. I thought he was going to get away. Well, yeah. It's just one of those ordeals, man. That's one thing we always say with Talladega Daytona. And I guess nowadays, lesser extent out Atlanta Motor Speedway. You just never know what to expect or what's going to happen. Except that chaos loves to ensue when it feels like it. Opportunity now limited. Major saying the scoring tree is better than the ticker. Oh, don't worry. I'll throw that back up in the last bit here. Don't worry. I only threw this ticker up just kind of so you can see like where the drivers are at, because there are 22, and I only got it set to 20 on the list here. So who wants him more? Your top 10 right now. Tyler Manning, Brian Lashbrook, Liam Beebe, Gary Miller, Tyler Barnes, Ben Ryan, Ryan Hunter, Andrew Smith, Dakota Esrick, and Tim Richardson. That is your top 10 lineup. Do not count those guys out in the back. Again, everyone 18 and up literally is in a must do it or win situation. They have a golden opportunity here they are looking for on this final leg. 3 laps remain. Nothing changed, nothing given up. It's all do or die here tonight. Major saying doing a great job, but you need a color man in the booth. Yeah, Major, trust me when I say this. I've been wanting one for a long, long time. I used to have a great guy that we worked with I'll give a shout out to him real quick. Dustin Sloanaker. If you go back and watch our older stuff, you ever hear me and him commentate? It was like magic. Him and I had a great time, and we made some great memories on this stuff. I think even he and I was the one that was able to chat when Dale Earnhardt Jr. was racing on our streams one time. Yes, that actually happened. I'm not joking. But nevertheless, for possibly the final time here off of the front straightaway, looking on from the sidelines down to the big sheets of green and white, to the yellow we go, to the green we wave. High in the sky, finish this one out, boys. Richardson right now in a very deleted dilemma. Has Smith behind, Ryan with him, as well as Miller. Everybody in the bottom draft trying to hold their line down. The outside lane trying to pick up speed, trying to build the pace up. Now up to the front, back yet again. Ben Ryan looking to rally the troops. Richardson's going to have to defend that bottom. He can't get up to the top in time. 2 laps to go. This time on by. They get to that white flag marker. They will finish this race under the checkers. They have 2 laps now left. It's getting close here. Ben Ryan this time around, close to the line. That was about a tire length there, but this time he's going to get the race lead into the turn, but loses it off the bottom. Richardson, big push from the 4. Now getting some help from the 3 of Barnes. Everybody on the bottom lane is pushing and shoving, trying to get that momentum grilled in and trying to hold it down. Richardson, he evades the bottom. He goes top. He blocked off the lane. He's trying to get it squared up. Trying to hold down that lane choice right now and trying to get it squared up on the spur kit right at the moment. All drivers trying to hang on. Ryan and Richardson will lead him down here. You got 1 lap to go, presented by Wagner's Welding. Who's going to get it this time? Ryan to the line this time. It was a tire length for him. They've got company on the top side. Here comes Dakota Isrick now trying to get some momentum. This is a 3-card bash him and smash up drive. Bash them up and hope you don't smash them up. Coming off. Beautiful driving by all involved. Just hanging on for dear life. Trying to keep the momentum going. Ben Ryan got a good push there from the 15. He wants to stay in the middle. He throws a block up to the top. The 40 gets a nail in the punch. And down to the bottom goes the 15 of Gary Miller. Miller now into the lane. He jumped right out of Richardson. Dakota's right there in the middle with a big shove on the 7. The 7 of the Golden Steel has a chance. Big wreck right behind him as they come on. 3 cars down. Now 4 left in this one. Dakota is rigged out to the final. He's going to try to hold the final charge. And to the line, it's going to be Ben Ryan to the line. He got him by a matter of inches. What a race. Holy smokes. Ben Ryan and Golden Steel giving it what they had at the end to Dakota Isrick. But in this case, your winner tonight is going to be the lone northern driver from Canada's side. Ben Ryan, the Elite Motorsports 67, is your winner at Talladega. Woo-hoo-hoo! Wow. Scott got trapped late in the race, early in the middle of the race, thrown to the bottom, couldn't get anything going. Next thing you know, he's on the top of the mountain. But say nothing less of those other 2 drivers I mentioned, Dalton Steele, Dakota Isrick. What a performance they gave. Fighting to the line, Dakota thought he had it, but that last-minute charge and that unique placement that they put down in the bottom of the track just before turn 1 was the undoing for the 40 and the 7. And I think we're about to get some celebrations, burnouts, and some donuts here from that 67 machine. All 3 going to come to the line here. What a performance. What a drive. Absolutely wonderful movement and racing there from these guys. They gave it everything they had, and nothing was left out on the track. That is the true definition of hard-fought racing action, ladies and gentlemen. Here it is, your race results presented by Wagner's Welding. What a performance here from everyone. There to the line. Look at this. 3/10,000ths of a second. Dakota will come up short to Ben Ryan. Third's going to go to 9/10 of a thousandth of a second from Dalton Steele. Gary Miller going to go fourth. Andrew Smith gets fifth. Sixth goes to Ben Parts. Seventh to Mike Stremensky. Eighth goes to Eric Coppathorn. Ninth to Tyler Barnes. And 10th will go to James Wagner. That will round out your finishers in this one. What a performance all around from these drivers and all around from this gang, man. You can't say enough good things around tonight for how hard they performed at this level of the race. Well, race fans, we're going to go ahead and get into some top 3 drivers here in just a moment. Hopefully they will join us here on the circuit. At least I'm hoping right now at the moment, hopefully. See if we can bring our driver in right now, ladies and gentlemen, here. It looks like he's joining me now right here onto the circuit here. Ben Ryan in the number 67. Ben, my, sir, that last-minute dash, that last-minute run was all she wrote. Talk me through what the heck was going through your mind as you rolled into the front straightaway, sir.
Man, I'm really not sure. I'm going to have to watch that back. I don't really know what unfolded leading up to that, but I thought we were clear. I thought we had a really good run, and Gary was behind me, but he got hot, so when he dove to the bottom, it kind of broke all the momentum, and then Dakota cleared me, and I was like, well, at least I'm gonna push him. I'm gonna see if we can get a podium there. And then coming down through the tri-oval, I was just like, well, maybe we can make a gap, but I wasn't really willing to wreck anyone, but I was gonna try to put it in there, and that run I got was big, so it carried me to the front there.
Not only did it carry you to the front, but honestly got you just literally 3/10,000 of a second there ahead of Dakota. I mean, when you got to his corner panel there on that front straightaway, I got to believe you were just thinking, like, man, don't let this thing get too close into those fenders and send him into trouble with you and Dalton there coming up the line.
No, I kind of thought we were going to bump and bang there like we did. Like, we kind of got into each other a little bit when I shoved it in there. Like, I was able to shove Dalton up just enough to get in there. And I just had to stay super tight on the 40 to suck him back because he was all by himself. I was all by myself. And, like, the only thing you really got, the back car kind of has the ability to suck that car back a bit and keep the run going. So, like, that's all I had in my pocket there. And it got me there by just enough.
And just enough it was indeed. Ben, you got a whole host of guys and gals right now listening on here on Speed Zone TV. Who are we thanking for this one?
I'd just like to thank Elite Motorsports. We were pretty committed there at the end to try to get going and get lined up. Really the whole race. I went a lap down there at one point. Just I was trying to get out of the pack there because it was getting dicey, and then to come back from the lap down, come up through the field, get it done in regulation, which is great. It was just a great night, really. I just want to thank Tim for putting it on, all the admins, Roughneck Racing, Johnny for doing the RC, you guys for broadcasting it, just everything that makes this deal go.
For sure there. Well, Ben, man, congratulations. What a performance and a great run to end this wild night of racing, sir.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks a lot. You guys have a great night.
You too. Ladies and gentlemen, that is Ben Ryan, the number 67, your first place finisher of the night. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go ahead and bring it down to our runner-up tonight, Dakota Isrig. And Dakota, man, if there was ever a time I want to say heartbreaker, man, it's got to be the tonight. But you absolutely put on a show there that last bit. You fought, scratched, and clawed. You were up on the high side, then you were on the bottom. You were everywhere, and yet somehow you made this thing hold on. How did you do it, sir?
Oh man, I think it's just one of those things that you just got to put yourself in the right place at the right time. I was going to get kind of trapped there in the middle, and so I committed to that third line that had been coming up, and I think it just kind of opened up for me there. Got a little scrappy coming out of three, and I just found myself all of a sudden looking up, nobody ahead of me, and I did my best to hold on to it, but I think Ben just got just enough of a run around the outside there of the tri-oval, so.
And so ended up just losing it just by 3,000, 10,000 a second there. I mean, all in all, though, I mean, Dakota, there's nothing to sneeze at here. You started there in the 7th spot, had to make your way up from the pack, and had to get through a couple of times there. I mean, all around, I mean, this has got to be not only just a great day in points wise for you guys, but also just, overall a good look at what maybe to become down the future road, isn't it?
Oh yeah, absolutely. These races are always a lot of fun. It's a good opportunity to really work as a team and kind of, settle in. I think these races are just so much about patience and just kind of picking your spots. And I think our team did a really good job at that. And I think you're exactly right that I think this just goes to show that given the opportunity, we're going to be there to take advantage should the opportunity present itself. So we're definitely going to be taking a lot away from this one and definitely pretty happy with it as a team.
Absolutely. Well, Dakota, you got a bunch of them still hanging around waiting to hear from you here. Who are we thanking for this one?
It's just got to be everyone. Obviously, everyone at HIM Motorsports, my team, couldn't have been here without them. And everyone out there cheering along. We love putting on a show for everyone here on Speed Zone and just putting on some good racing. I don't think you could thank anybody else but them for coming out and supporting us.
For sure there. Well, nevertheless, Dakota, congratulations on a well-fought race and definitely a great show from you guys tonight.
Awesome. Appreciate it.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was Dakota Isrig there as we now bring you to... As we bring you to your third place finisher here, ladies and gentlemen. Give it up for the 7 of Dalton Steele. And Dalton, I think you're feeling about as animated as what you just played on the broadcast for us here, my friend. How did this one feel in the line?
I mean, it's super speedway track. It was fun. I mean, was able to generate enough help on the outside and thought I could have got a run off the extra of the corner, but then everybody's help got taken out, and then it was just kind of like a who can lean on who the most to be at the line, and just couldn't grind enough off of the side of them to get in front of them.
Couldn't quite indeed there. I know, obviously, we talked a lot about the drafting and the package that you have to kind of work with tonight. I mean, coming down that lane, it looked, kind of go back to what you're saying there, you were trying to get as much of that side draft to kind of push them back with you and try to hold them down. I mean, had you had a little bit longer and maybe just a little bit more of a straightaway, do you think maybe that this could have been a different scenario, or you think it could have been, you on the top of the mountain?
No. I mean, I don't think a longer straightaway would have helped. I just think that if somebody would have, because it was, I forget how close it was, but if that wreck would have happened like 2/100ths of a second later, it probably would have finished different.
Copy that. Well, nevertheless, though, Dalton, man, you absolutely cooked it there on that last bid, coming up just 9,000 of a second short here to the line. I'm going to ask you, brother, who do you want to thank you for this last one?
Just for Roughneck putting this on and everything they do. It's just fun to come out here and race with these guys. So hats off to them for always putting up something good.
For sure there. Well, Dalton, nevertheless, we appreciate you coming on by tonight. Congratulations getting that top 3 in for this one, buddy.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is going to be Dalton Steele, your third place finisher here tonight. Well, not much left I can say other than what a race, what a performance here. The DEGADASH 266 is in the books. Race fans, for all of us here at Speed Zone TV, thank you so much for coming on board. To Roughneck Racing, thank you so much for having us come by and showcase this one. What a performance and a great stuff here. To James Wagner's Welding and Wagner's Welding Company, be sure to check them out at that number dialed on the screen there as well. Get some help from them. From all of us here at Speed Zone TV, please take care of yourselves. Be good. Stay safe. We'll see you next time when that green flag flies.